Hi everybody and welcome to a brand new episode of Beer Bubbles. This time it's me, CC, who missed out on a great interviewing opportunity. Rasmus had us covered though. One of the last weeks before leaving Älghjärtat for Akkurat, he had the boys from Åre Bryggcompagni in for a tasting. He sat down with owner and brewer Anders Abrahamsson, and this is what they talked about. Enjoy!
Hi, Anders. What's up?
All good. Busy weekend in Stockholm, but finally here at Älghjärtat to do some pod with you.
Yeah,
Share a couple of beers.
Oh, definitely. We're drinking something right now. We're drinking Fjällen Pale Ale.
Yes.
And it's almost a year ago since you were here.
Yeah.
So cheers.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Cheers. Thank you.
So about a year ago, Anders was here and did a tasting.
Yes.
What was that tasting about?
If
you remember?
yeah, we do. It was the only tasting we did last year, since it was really the worst COVID time, probably.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a really great time, and it was a good showcase of our beers at that moment, I think. And we had a really lovely time.
Yeah, we were here for the tasting was about 2.5 hours, something like that, and then I got your shirt. Still have it. And we're drinking Fjällen Pale Ale right now, which is kind of a different pale ale than the usual pale ale, right? You told me a little bit about it.
Yeah. We had a discussion about this because for the last 3 years, I would say, we've been using Kvik, since we're just really close to the border of Norway in the Trondheim area. And in that area, historically, Kvik has been a thing on the farmhouses in that area. I really am interested in the historic side of brewing, and since it's a huge difference between Sweden and Norway, my guess was it was probably some kind of historic legislative thing that caused it to just disappear over time on the Swedish side of the border. So I just got really interested and read all the Marius Garshol articles at that time, and actually drove to Trondheim to get my hands on some Kvik. And since then, we have been utilizing it in our brewery, not in the sense of making beer fast. Just for me, this is Scandinavian saison. That is why I want to use it, and it's a hugely versatile yeast that I really love. Basically,
it's a delicious yeast when you handle it the right way and the correct way.
Yeah, and that is always up to the brewer, and we got our way, and I guess everyone does it their own way, but we really like to let it go and do its thing. So we're using it at really high temperatures. But then again, we also let it really spend the time to cool off and lager it for a while. That is our experience to make it do what we want to do.
So one of the few pale ales that gets better.
I really think the estery side of it really lends a foundation for our, in this case, a pale ale, for the hops to dance on, basically. And even though over time the hops might fade away, but you still have that ester foundation that I find interesting.
It's delicious. But now we talked about the beer, but Åre Bryggcompagni.
Yeah.
The history behind that. When did you start? Who are you? It's not only you. It's more people, right?
Yeah. No, it's definitely not only me. It was formed by my wife and 2 friends from the very, very early beginning. And we were basically 4 people that had moved to Åre, sitting on a really, really late night, figuring out what the hell to do now that we all had moved to Åre. And since we had been frequent visitors to Akkurat, and I had just came back from a longer stay in the US and really discovered craft beer. I just and had been thinking about the idea for a while, and just let's start a brewery, and no one had even been close to brewing beer at that point. But we said, hell yeah, we're gonna start a brewery. And then we spent 2 years basically figuring out what that was. You know, we did 2 brews in the kitchen and said, hell no, this ain't the way to learn how to brew beer, basically. So we got the opportunity to be able to be in a production kitchen, doing all the experimental brewing in there, which was, I think now looking back, pretty key. So you had a sanitary environment to do that in. So yeah, and then we just it was some work involved. We got a brewery set up in Huså, which is a little village just north of on the north side of Åreskutan, where we started in 2012, 2013. We released the first beer in 2013, but got started in 2012. And from that point, it was Anton, which was one of the founders, who's no longer with us, but he's alive, but not in the brewery.
I was just about to ask.
Yeah. I kind of noticed that. He's a sommelier, and my other colleague, Daniel, he's a chef. My background is in economics, and I also love all the gadgets in a brewery. So I'm the technician and brewer.
The house nerd.
Yeah. I'm the janitor, basically.
Isn't every brewer?
Yeah. Professional janitor
and cleaners.
Yeah. So that's our. That's and still is our foundation, because we have always, I think everyone has their own thought, but we have a really clear thought about why and how we want to make beer, basically. And that come from that, Anton being a sommelier, Daniel being a chef. And so we really was sitting down in the Finnish brewery and said, what the hell are we gonna brew? Because we had been through all, like, the really, at that point you did really bitter, really hoppy, really strong shit, just because it was fun. But no one of us liked to drink that. We like to pair beer to food, and we like to have at least another beer, not just one beer. And that has really formed our little focal point, or what you want to call it. So every beer we brew has to pass through that hole. And if it doesn't fit, we will not brew it, basically.
So you kind of created this philosophy around what type of beers you want to make and what they're supposed to be for.
Yeah, and the idea, formulated idea, was basically like taking classic beers and put a modern touch to it, and I really think that still goes, but then again, the most important part is that the beer should go really well with food, and if you have one, you should want to have another, and that is what has basically formed our our view on what is balance in a beer, because if it's not balanced, it will not fit into any of those kind of I don't know, gates that it has to pass. So even if we try to do an imperial stout, you should want and be able to drink one whole bottle of it as well after you had the first.
All right. Yeah. So you need to be able to drink 2 of them.
Yes. And that is really hard. But that is why, like, when we don't do sweet imperial stouts. We do dry imperial, well attenuated imperial stouts.
So no pastries.
Just no. No.
Notice how many times he's no to that question.
No, we're not really into that side of it. We're always looking for the flavors. We're really interested in the flavors that you can have in a beer, but always in balance with the rest of the beer. It's like, no, we will not do fruited sour, which has tons and tons and tons of fruit, because that means it will only taste tons and tons of fruit. You forget about the beer that should carry the fruit. That is we want to make a beer that the fruit adds something to, but it still should be a beer, not something that is just fruit and alcohol. I would say
it can be delicious too, but
it can, and really, I have full respect for that side. It's just we really just don't want to do that.
No, and that's I think that's good that you focus on the styles and the beers that you want to make and that you yourself actually drink and enjoy, because I imagine the product gets a lot better because of that. Instead of doing something you don't really drink and you're like, oh, okay.
We really have never made a beer just to, let's do this beer because we'll make a ton of money, or it will be a crazy beer. We've never done that. Actually, because then I wouldn't enjoy the beer, and then we will not brew that beer, basically.
Well, I'm only thinking about the Mirabelle. It's... but I don't know if I could have 2 bottles of that. To be honest,
Mirabelle is actually out on a limb at the moment.
Yeah.
We're not really sure we can recover the yeast, so I'm working on that. But we'll see how it goes. And the tree, which we captured that yeast culture from, has since been cut down. So it's not impossible to do another capture.
That is just tragic.
It's not my tree, because if it were, it would always be there.
Yeah. It seems like we have some visitors coming into the podcast.
Hello. Hello. We are Leo and Aaron from Corner Club. That's where we live.
So Aaron and Leo works at the cocktail bar upstairs from Älghjärtat, and we are doing the Sunday party.
Yeah.
Where the time we're recording this. I regret this already. So we're gonna try 2 beers.
We're gonna drink some.
And Anders, which one you will start with?
We are gonna actually start with the more complex one, I think, because the other one is more of a mind tweak. I'll tell you a bit more about it when we get to it. The first one is cuvée, our first cuvée of 1 and 2 year old beers, and
I like the size of this bottle.
Yes, I love that format.
Yes. Or big girl size.
Big person size.
Yeah, it's a good size if you just want to have the one beer.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's basically a blend of 3 of the releases we did last year, plus the last barrel we filled in 2020. And then a small re-fermentation again upon blending, and this is it.
What's the ABV?
It's 6.8.
All right.
Yeah. And it's what I find to be the most fun thing to explore at the moment. We've been doing this for the last 3 years, and it's a more food-friendly type of beer, I would say, and it's just the wild bacteria and yeast that works on the beer creates a whole nother thing than regular beers.
Funky.
I'm just like really curious. What makes a beer food friendly?
I would answer balance, and then slightly some acidity will help, and then also what I find in this beer is that even though it's bone dry, it still has a body to it, which both the alcohol and time, I would say, lends to it. It develops a really nice body, although it's bone dry. So
it's really cool.
Yeah, so it's like round, tart, not sour. We don't do the level of sourness in this beer has actually been designed to be just this sour, because if you go mouth puckering sour, then you can't enjoy this beer to food. Yeah. So that is why this beer is what it is, and it's one part spontaneous capture from my garden, from birch sap, and in the birch sap there's some critters that creates this level of acidity, and together with some Brett strains, Brettanomyces, and there is some saison, there is some quake, and whatever now lives in our barrels, basically.
You feel the Brett a little bit afterwards.
Yeah,
it comes through really well.
Yeah.
Is that the horse sweat type?
Yeah, that's the funky tones you have in the back of your mouth.
Yeah,
love me some good horse sweat in the morning.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
So, but it's also kind of moderate funk, which we also find to be kind of important to not go over the top and not be the horse sweat.
Yeah. I think it's really
barnyard.
Thank
you. Thank you.
You have like this like juiciness of it,
Yeah.
and it's like you said, like the acid doesn't like contains everything or like
Yeah.
get out of the way. Just like starkness, round it up. Feel like
Thank
a
you.
little bit peachy.
Yeah.
And it's actually the beers that make up this cuvée is one that was conditioned with blueberries and wild strawberries, and one that was conditioned on cloudberries, and then one just non-fruit conditioned version, which was local malts from our closest maltster in Norway.
What does it mean when you condition something with blueberry, for example? As an amateur, I don't really...
basically, you put fruit in the beer, let it sit and eat eat all the sugars from that fruit.
So you let it sit and ferment and macerate also.
Yes.
It eats the sugar and poops out the alcohol.
Yeah, exactly.
Taste.
Yeah.
Basically.
So alcohol monster.
And not alcohol monster, but basically just chew up what's in there, and I guess as in when you distill like fruit fermentations, you get all the alcohol carries notes of that fermentation through. So that's just a fun puzzling part, I would say.
Definitely. And you also have another one.
Yes.
With you.
And this is a young, fresh, wild beer, and it's a continuous collaboration we have with Undersåkers Schack, which is basically Fäviken's charcuterie.
That place.
Yeah. And
We drove by that one time.
there are some really good chefs that work there, and we basically just try to do a mind tweak on Folköl, which is a low ABV beer that used to be really boring. That is really happening a lot of stuff, but for us is for me when I designed the culture and what we want to do, this is a fresh rhubarb and cured lemon gose.
It smells lemon curd.
Yeah. So it's cured lemons and fresh rhubarbs and just a wild fermentation on a really tiny beer, which also makes it not taste like a beer.
It's almost acidic from the rhubarbs, it feels, because it's
Yes.
a lot of rhubarb flavor.
Yeah. And also the lemons really lend but the thing with the cured lemons is that it's a kind of a rounded lemony
Yeah,
taste.
you get like the saltiness of the goes around.
Yeah.
It's
So-
super out of balance.
Yeah, it smells almost like lemon, like little caramels or something like that. Like really concentrated lemon, and has a lot more like nose tickling acidity compared to the other one. This one tastes almost like sour candy or something.
Yeah.
They're both very delicious, and we're gonna serve them both tonight.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Nice.
But it's basically just a fun thing to do to work with the Folköl thing, and yeah.
And still the acid doesn't like get too far away. It's super
Yeah.
balanced.
Thank you.
Both are very delicious. The first one is more my cup of tea. It's, I love the funkiness. The more the funk, the better.
Now this is also a whole separate culture in that tank. We basically do it as a solera, and it has fresh honey from Fäviken as well. That is part of that culture and was added to the fermentation, and also some Brett, and also some of our house culture, but with more added to that.
And for those of you listening that don't know what a solera system is, it's basically
a
pyramid of barrels, you could say, or it's a good
Yeah.
explanation, where the first one you keep adding the older beer to the newer beer until you have a finished product, basically.
Yeah, we do it basically, you take some out and put some in, and those barrels has been going for 3 years now, and I really think they don't develop in a bad way. It's still the fresh, because even though we want to make beer that takes a shitload of time to do, we still want that fresh feel to it. Even though, of course, like this has 2-year-old beer in it, then it's gonna develop more of that funk and heavier notes. But this is on the other side. You can also have that really fresh feel to it, and we really want to keep that, I would say.
Definitely, it's a great way to make good beer, and I mean, and after a couple of years, it's gonna be even more fun because
exactly.
So
So
much
it's really we release we basically, because we like them pretty fresh, and that is why we release them pretty fresh. Because of course you can have even more complex, I would say, than beers, but that has that huge like barnyard and horse blanket nose. But that's not for all. But I would say these beers in this state is something I think can open a few eyelids into wild beer.
definitely. But I mean, for the QV 2020, you could save it for a while as well.
Yes,
and
yes,
it will just
but
evolve
that's
and-
up to you,
Yeah, exactly.
basically, because we like it where it is now. If you like even more complexity, save it, and you can save it for 5, 10, whatever years, and it probably just get better. And since we're pretty new to this, we've been following bottles for 2 years now, and yes, they do get better. Actually, which we are really happy about. They really develop in the way we want them to, and I really don't think it's going to be all the barnyard and horse blanket you can find, but that's not what we want either. We want it balanced, basically.
Not too much funk and junk.
Yeah. Still, like
just that perfect amount.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect amount of funk.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm a little bit curious about the food pairing with these beers.
Yeah.
Like, what would you eat with the first one? Like, what would you have?
I will have mussels with this beer.
Yeah.
Definitely. Lovely. Or
like
the
Belgian style.
Yeah. Definitely. I will also do, like this year. Like for now, we're up where we live. We're through the mushroom season, but it's really good, like chanterelles and stuff like that, like the autumny
creamy sauce.
And for the other one, I would use it for lighter dishes or aperitif or something like that,
like a picnic beer almost.
Yeah,
really nice
yeah, exactly. It's like
a little bit of cheese and crackers, perhaps.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Fried
really
chicken,
cool
maybe?
stuff. I think these, like, they would be a nice little introduction to this type of beer for people who don't enjoy them as often as you guys do.
Yeah.
I think. Because they're not really that weird, or, they're really nicely put together and well balanced, and the acidity isn't like... I think a lot of these sour beers tend to go really, really far up with the acidity, which has been a problem for me with sour beers.
I totally agree.
That's why I really enjoy this one, because you have this nice round foundation to kind of rest the acidity upon. Very nice, very, very elegant and complex, but still not too weird.
Yeah, I would say the cuvée is like, it's a little bit pet-nap feeling.
Yeah, like I think it's like for people who like that kind of, it's fun to see how those two, like wine and beers, kind of the trends are kind of heading towards the same direction. You like this like slight carbonation, acidity, funkiness. It's nice. It's a really good hipster beer, but you don't have to be a hipster to drink it, I would say.
No.
Anyone would enjoy this beer. It's bomb, it's delicious.
Thank you.
But I enjoy this beer, and I'm from Södermalm.
So you get the Aaron seal of approval as well.
Lovely. Thank you.
Self-approved hipster.
Is that even a thing?
Just see where I live.
But what you're saying about the beer is really where we want to be with the beer, and it's lovely to hear.
That's awesome. It's almost like someone told me before what to say. Like that would be weird. I'm just kidding. We don't have a script, obviously.
No, they just got back from the kitchen.
Exactly.
Yeah,
making some fried chicken.
Little beer pause.
Definitely, it's a party tonight.
It's a big party tonight. We have our monthly recurring Aloha Sunday, we call it. It's pretty industry forward, like party concept that we do once a month, where we invite brewers, distillers, spirit brands and portfolios, and we have like a really nice party for all industry people. Yeah.
It's the first one after the restrictions drop, so usually gets pretty nuts.
God damn.
It's gonna be awesome.
We hope it's gonna get nuts.
Yeah. So me and Leo's doing some fried chicken, Sandos, Sammy's, Subways, whatever. It's a sandwich.
Never go wrong with fried chicken.
Yeah, like
exactly. And then some corn on the cob, hot sauce.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, I think it was like beer batter glazed and bourbon glaze.
Yeah, it's gonna be super good. You're gonna have to try it, I think. Yeah. Now, like, it's not like we can invite people from here because this is gonna be released after the party, anyways.
Yeah,
but still, next time, guys, be here.
This is what you missed.
Yeah, you'll get severe FOMO after you see the photos from tonight.
Yeah, so fried chicken subs and beer and bourbon and rye tonight.
Yeah.
That's the
pretty
party.
much so.
Yeah. Thank you guys for coming into the podcast, joining the Beer Bubbles family.
It's been a blast. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Yes.
See you later.
See you soon. Bring some beer. So that was a fun little guest appearance by Corner Club, the guys who are exceptional at making cocktails. Right now they do a food-based menu, a Michelin star food-based menu. So they do drinks with duck fat and caramelized onions, and they go crazy. So
interesting. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's always fun to hear their opinion, because when it comes to flavor, these guys are spot on. Yeah. As you might have noticed. They're nerds as well.
Yeah.
So
love that.
Speaking now about when you talked about the cuvée and the folköl, rhubarb lemon gose.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that, because I had one question, like what's to expect in the years to come from Åre Bryggcompagni?
Yeah.
Is this something that you are pushing to?
Yes.
To do more.
Definitely. We're actually now just waiting to finish a couple of new spaces actually. One is to be able to expand our barrel fermenting area, and it's gonna, like now we only have 3 ex red wine barriques, which kind of really limits the amount of wild beers that we can do that go through the barrel fermentation process that we do. We also do some like the rhubarb one is that's only steel, and we do the Mirabelle is still also just steel, but we really want to to put that into the barreling process as well, because for us we really like the complexity and flavors that the ex red wine barrels lends to our beers, and also get some other types of barrels, but we're really ramping that portion of our beers up, so we have some 500 liter ex red wine barrels heading up north.
But because a lot of these beers you could, as you said, you could save. You want them ready to drink fresh as well, but you could save them for a long while. Yeah. So are you putting away like half of the brew, or are you selling most of it, or?
No, it's basically finished product per batch now is 500 liters, and they are basically out the same week we release them, and but that is also the next step, basically. Like we're going to be able to do to split the batches in a way we really can't do at the moment. So basically, like half the batch can be released at one point, or in half or a third or whatever. Like just starting to play around with time in that sense, I would say. So yeah, it's gonna just be more and more fun to do. It's a whole nother thing. But we really, since we have our background that we have, we really enjoy these beers and what they can do. For like we have some, of course, really great Swedish wild beer brewers and companies, Bräckeriet, for example. And we would just like to add to that, and with our idea.
Yeah, I know there's a couple of breweries that started doing this as well. One which I can't mention because I think it will be pissed off at me. But
yeah,
it's a lot.
It's gonna happen a shit ton.
Yeah, there's
in
a lot
this
of barrels.
part of beer. Yeah, there's a lot of barrels happening at the moment.
Yeah, and I think that's due to the pandemic. It's
I would say
going down for the restaurant side and all the
a couple of months in, you started to see a shitload of pictures of barrels.
Yeah,
yeah,
like you're bored, but you don't want to stop the brewing. So for me, that is great because this is my favorite style of beer is the sours.
I know there
basically it's so
also weird stuff that's gonna come out of that.
Definitely,
I do know that for a fact.
I mean, we all love Belgian beers, the Lambics and Krieks and Goses and everything like that. That's brewed in Belgium, but I do believe that the quality that a lot of Swedish brewery puts out now is starting to. I wouldn't say that there are lambics, but it's coming to a level where you can enjoy them as much as you enjoy your lambic.
Yes, definitely.
It's so much more complex now than just a sour beer, a lacto fermented sour or something like that, which I also love. But having this complex 1-2 years made of beer, it's something else.
Yeah, I think this definitely is gonna develop a lot in Sweden in the coming couple of years. Definitely, as I said, the barrels are there for a lot of people, so it's gonna be some exciting stuff. I would say that's gonna come. Yeah.
But going back to Åre as a little town, there's also another brewery there called Svartbergets Fjällbryggeri.
Yes.
Which we had on the podcast a couple of weeks back, and maybe Sebastian comes by tonight.
Yeah.
Would be fun.
Yeah.
So maybe I met him, maybe not. I don't know yet. Even though you hear this episode a couple of weeks after, I don't know around. From what I understood is that instead of there's not a competition between you two, it's more like friendly, helping out each other, small community. It's like,
even though there are a lot of stuff happening in the brewing industry at the moment, I would say that might not be that good for the like the brewing community. I would say just like in the US, where you had like first, second, third, fourth wave brewers, as viewed by the brewing community, there has been a shit ton of money going into the brewing community for the last couple of years, but the thing I love about the brewing community is that it's always friendly, and you can always ask, and you can always get help or whatever, and that is, for me, that is the soul of and a really big part of why we are still here, and why we enjoy what we do. So let's just keep on trucking in that sense, and I love that. Keep including people. So Sebbe, the head brewer there, is an awesome guy, and we actually did a collab with them. First collab a week ago. So it's gonna be a really delicious saison, I hope. Yeah.
I do hope too.
Yeah.
Nice. So a collab with Svartbergets. That's, I want to taste that.
Yeah.
Both are great brewers, both you and them. So it's we were both, me and Cici were pleasantly surprised with their bursts as well. And I tried Åre the first time. Yeah, it was last year actually. First that I remember, like 100% that I tried. Maybe I tried a community before or something like that, but Mirabelle was basically the first beer I tried from you guys.
Okay. Yeah. Good start. Good start.
I need to stop talking about the Mirabelle. I think that is still the trailer on the YouTube. That episode.
Oh man. Yeah, it was really a lovely beer. And as I said, we hope to
Have you talked to the guy who cut down the tree?
No, I will never do that. Because it was basically a kind of a guerrilla capture as well. I just jumped the fence late night, put some wort under that tree and picked it up early morning and brought it home to Åre, which is 1,000 kilometers from there, and started to ferment with what I caught. So he doesn't even know about it.
So
basically,
you stole this yeast. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeast stealer.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. So basically, when you were kids and you stole apples,
exactly,
and you go and steal yeast.
Yeah.
We shouldn't even know that it's gone. So I mean, if you would be pissed off about that, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I was 100% sure that I was gonna have a Brett Sour collab with the Benchwarmers serving here tonight.
Yeah.
But apparently I got something else, which was I got the Cuvée 2020, and I was looking at the bottle thinking that this says nothing about Benchwarmers here. Do the guys at Benchwarmers know that their collab doesn't have them on the bottle?
Yeah.
But it turns out that this is not the collab.
No. But we have also Magnus at Benchwarmers and I met up at the last brew school we were at, and
2019.
Yeah. And it's really a good spot or the best spot, I would say, to just hang out with other brewers. And we found a lot of friends through that festival all over the world. And Magnus really wanted to do a wild, something wild. So for the last 2 years, we've been doing. Basically, it's a Brett IPA, 7%, and first year we did single hop Citra. This year will be single hop Galaxy, and it's a wild beer that people don't know that it's wild. Basically, it's like Brett can be really really clean when you want it to, basically. Not over time, it will certainly develop things over time, but as we do it and as we serve it, basically, it's just a question of Brettanomyces adding those fruity esters that it can under certain conditions to add to the beer, which is a fruity IPA, and it's it's a lovely beer. Yeah, but it wasn't really ready.
All right.
So that's why you didn't get it. When we spoke before, I think I said, we're gonna bring the Benchwarmers collab.
I am not disappointed at all.
Thank you. But it's coming. It's just it's in carbonation mode at the moment.
I look forward to trying it in a few weeks then.
Yeah.
When it's ready.
When it's ready. It's ready when it's ready, and that's how we. Like, you have to have that patience and time when working with the wild stuff, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start to wrap this up, but I just want to if somebody wants to try Åre beer or visit Åre.
Yeah.
First of all, where can they find your beer, and what's the easiest way to buy it, and when they are in Åre, and they visit you? In some way.
I would say the short answer is no. But the longer answer is that we have a really, really good and long relationship with Parkvillan and Åre Ölcafé. And Kalle, who's coming here later, he just had to get something to eat. Just got a text. Is a part of us since almost 2 years now. And it was basically we were at a point where, okay, should we get a tap room? And since we want to brew beer, even though Daniel's a chef and he could easily run that small kitchen, it's like, no, let's not do that. Kalle does it in the best way possible, so let's team up instead. So that is what we decided upon, and he's been with us now for 2 years and really lets us have some taps at the bars, and so that is definitely the place to go.
So that's Åre. Basically your tap room.
yes and no, because Kalle has always been a free tap house, so it's not about that, and he will still keep running it as a free tap house, which is the only one locally. So if you want to experience our beers, you can definitely do that at those places. But we have long relationships with a lot of the restaurants in and around the village. So it's hard to find a spot where it's not at. It's just if you want to try the full range, go to Parkvillan and Åre Ölcafé.
Parkvillan, Åre Ölcafé, and I guess you can find some at Systembolaget as well.
Are the key to getting to go to the brewery, but you can always stop by and say hi. Definitely.
Okay. That's also good, always good to know.
Yeah,
and you can also find some at Systembolaget.
Yes. We're not big fans of Systembolaget. And we prefer to work with restaurants. Yeah. That's it has always been that way. But yes, we do. We're at Systembolaget, and you can find our beers there.
You can always find some at Älghjärtat as well, because there'll probably always be some Åre stuff here. And,
thank you.
I'll probably save some as well. So there will be some beers to drink here.
Yeah.
And we're about to finish up with the last question, the hardest question on the podcast, the only question I'll put you on the spot with. You're about to die. What's the last beer you're having? You can have anything you want.
Okay. Just something with complexity, I would say. So I had a really good lambic yesterday. I will go for that. What's it called? Girardini, something like that. Okay. Yeah, I would shoot that today. Yeah. or my own folköl, definitely. Yeah.
A complex beer or the folköl.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Very nice to have you here. And I haven't said that, but yeah, CC isn't here.
Yeah.
Yet. For you guys, when you listen to this episode, you have already heard him because he's going to be in the intro. But he's going to be here in about an hour and a half, maybe. He stops working in 50 minutes. So he's going to be here tonight in the bar, trying your beers as well.
Yes, as always.
And guys, whatever you do,
drink better beer.